Twice a year, we are given a gift, and that is the gift of the Sephora sale. It may sound silly or frivolous or whatever you want to call it, but honestly, in today's world where we're consuming so much, there's so much going on out there, a girl is allowed to indulge herself every once in a while. So today, I wanted to sit down and share what I think are the best products that you should be shopping during the sale. I want to cover skincare, I want to cover makeup, I want to cover hair, all of the bases. They're all going to be covered here. If you don't know, I'm a former magazine editor turned content creator who has gotten to test products as part of her job for almost 10 years now. So I hope you know that all of these come with the Austen stamp of approval. And I really wanted to narrow down this list to focus on my tried and true recommendations and not anything more. So I actually have 14 of them for you. Could have rounded up to 15, but I really just wanted to limit this list and focus it to my true top picks, because if you're going to be spending money on beauty, I want to make sure that it is money well spent. I'm also going to share what is in my basket ahead of the sale. Maybe you guys can let me know if you've tried some of the products I'm considering buying, or de-influence me if you have tried some things and they don't live up to the hype. Plus, I even already found a couple of holiday gift sets that I think you might want to add to your basket for your favorite people this year. Before we jump into all things Sephora sale, let's do a little create and consume as we do at the beginning of each episode. So as far as what I've been creating this past week, I finally published a blog post, you guys. I think I've talked about this either on here or over on my YouTube channel, but I really felt as though my blog took a backseat during our home buying and home renovation process. Something kind of had to give, and unfortunately, it was my beloved blog, but I am back this week with a new post. And what I actually was able to do was take a lot of short form content that I created and turn it into one bigger blog post. So I was doing a lot of fall outfit content over on Instagram and TikTok for the last few weeks. And what I was able to do was also take photos as I was taking that video content and use those photos in a new blog post. So if you need any outfit ideas for fall, especially if you are visiting New York City anytime in the next few weeks, this blog post is for you. It is basically a whole post filled with fall outfit inspiration. And I also talk through some fall wardrobe essentials, my favorite fall colors to wear. So if you've been feeling as though you need to fill in the blanks in your closet in some way, or you've just been looking for a couple of extra outfit ideas to keep in your back pocket for a rainy day, this is the blog post for you. I will be sure to link it in the show notes. As far as what I've been consuming this week, I read something that was on my 2025 TBR, and that was Battle of the Bookstores by Ali Brady. And I was able to get this one from my library. I had pretty much no wait, and also I flew through this book. I finished it in under a week, which after a bit of a reading slump from late summer through early September, it feels really good to be able to finish a book at that pace again. And I actually have a whole episode where I talk more about my reading journey and how I got back into reading. So if you just heard me say that and you're thinking I don't even know the last book I read, I feel like I haven't read something in so long, and you do want to get back into reading, I believe that was episode 15 in my reading era. I can also link that in the show notes. It's crazy to think back that that was probably one of the first episodes of the podcast that I recorded, but I'm pretty sure one of the tips I gave in that episode was to choose books that are interesting to you and that catch your eye, whether it's an interesting subject matter, something you want to learn more about, or just a juicy tagline or something that piques your interest. And for me, the premise of this book was what roped me in right away. As you can tell by the name, it's called Battle of the Bookstores, and the plot of this book is that two bookstore owners who own rival bookshops on the same street in a Boston neighborhood are told by their landlord that he is planning to combine their two shops. And so at this point, they are going to have books from both genres. So one of them is a romance bookstore called Happy Endings. And then the other bookstore is called Tabula Inscripta. And that bookstore, the genre is much more literary. It's much more highbrow, or at least that owner thinks that it's much more highbrow. So all of the books are going to be housed under one roof. And the coffee shop on the same block is also going to be a part of the new concept bookstore. So essentially, the two rival bookstore owners are now competing for one manager position. So whoever sells the most books by the end of the summer is going to get the manager job. So we have Josie, who manages the more highbrow literary bookstore, and then we have Ryan, who manages the romance bookstore. And as you may be able to gather, since they start out as rivals, but this is a romance novel, we've got a good old fashioned enemies to lovers trope here. And I actually really liked the character development of both of these characters, even though some parts of this book felt a little bit unrealistic at times, as romance novels are wont to do on occasion. I really felt like the characters' like flaws and strengths and personal dilemmas were all really grounded in reality, and it felt like it gave me people to root for in this book, which is not something that I got to experience while watching the latest season of Love is Blind. I don't think I got a chance to talk about that on here, but what a wild season of the show that was. And maybe we could talk about that in a future episode if you haven't finished watching yet. I don't want to spoil anything. But maybe also you weren't watching this season. I mean, it seemed like there was definitely a bit of a dip or a plateau with this season compared to previous ones. So I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I believe the reunion special comes out this week as I'm recording this episode. So maybe more will be revealed there, but I'm not planning on watching it. Okay. This is a busy enough week as it is. It's Taylor's wedding week. I'm her matron of honor. So we've got plenty of other things to do. And that's what I've been consuming this week. And definitely let me know what you've been creating and consuming too, especially if we've been creating or consuming any of the same stuff, because I love to chat about all this. With that out of the way, let's talk Sephora sale. And it's actually so funny to think about me sitting here recording an episode all about beauty. And now I feel like being a beauty content creator is one of the primary things that I personally identify as, when in the early days, I felt like I knew nothing about the beauty world. And I feel like I started out with beauty the same way most girls do, like just occasionally dipping into their mother's makeup drawers and trying, I don't know, blush for the first time, or like maybe stealing a lipstick here and there. And I feel like my beauty origin story is in two places. It was really at the drugstore initially, and then maybe also like the Clinique counter at Nordstrom. Those are the two places that I really remember first taking note of beauty and absorbing what beauty was. And in some ways, that really does feel like two totally different ends of the spectrum, right? Like the affordable, fun, playful drugstore color cosmetics, and then the more high end, highbrow skincare and beauty that was sold at more of the department stores. And I personally feel now like Sephora has kind of bridged the gap of those two things. And it really is the place where you can find pretty much anything at this point. But fashion was definitely my first love that I discovered before beauty. So even in the early days of college and high school, like I loved getting dressed up, but I would very rarely do much makeup. Or if anything, I would maybe throw in like one of those single shadow eyeshadows from the drugstore. And it's like, okay, today's like a late lavender vibe. I can like truly picture in my head photos of myself from high school where my eyebrows are just genuinely all over the place, like totally running amok. And it's kind of crazy to look back at that era and be like, that poor girl, she didn't even know about brow gel. And I would say that I really started to get into beauty when I started working at Nylon, because there I was obviously surrounded by fashion, which was like the whole point for me initially. That was what I fell in love with and really wanted to do work-wise, was to get into fashion journalism. And beauty just happened as a result of like sitting right next to the beauty department. And beauty would have these free bins where any products that the beauty department couldn't use, they would just put in a bin, and they were totally up for grabs for anybody. So being that I was living in New York City on an editorial assistant salary, which at the time was like sub 30K, so awful, honestly, but somehow made it work. I needed to subside on the freebies and the perks that came with my editorial job, even though I was not getting compensated the way I wish I had been. So that was really my first kind of foray into discovering beauty, was really just playing with products that I would take from the free bin. And that's also where I feel like Glossier launched, and they launched with 4 hero products to start out. Since I had already been an Into the Gloss reader, and I actually had a friend who was interning for Into the Gloss at the time they were launching Glossier, that was really my first introduction to skincare. So I want to say in like 2015, 2016 was really when I started learning more about beauty and taking it seriously. And it is crazy to think that that was 10 years ago, because it does not feel like 10 years ago. And I even remember the very first beauty blog post that I published on my blog. Like I said, I've had my blog for over a decade at this point. You can find pretty much anything on there. And I was always so nervous to write about beauty because I felt like I really knew a lot about fashion. Like I'd binged so many seasons of Project Runway. I'd read Marc Jacobs' biography and Coco Chanel's biography, and I really felt like I knew fashion history and what the history meant for contemporary fashion. I just didn't feel like an expert in beauty ever. So when I published my very first beauty blog post, that really solidified it for me. And the blog post was, you can literally go back and find it, from 2017, like my everyday makeup favorites. And once I realized I could talk about beauty from my point of view and I didn't necessarily need to be an expert or know a ton about the industry, even though I would say now I do, it just felt really nice to be able to say, here's beauty from my perspective. Here's beauty from my background as an editor and as someone who lives in a city and as someone with like my skin type, my hair type, all of those things. It was really empowering and great to be able to finally talk about it. And so that is really how I approached beauty for the first few years that I started sharing beauty content and blogging about beauty and doing YouTube videos of product reviews and stuff, which to this day are some of my most viewed content over on YouTube. All of this to say that I feel like my background working in magazines, my journey as a content creator, and the fact that I get to try so many beauty products as part of my job, both paid and unpaid, by the way. I do some paid product testing where I test products for a specific time period. I take notes on the performance. I send in photos and insights. And what I love most about being able to test so many products is I basically get to be the guinea pig for you guys. So I get to go through the process and see what I like about certain products, what I don't like about certain products. And that really informs all of my recommendations. And oftentimes, products that I get gifted or get to try once, if I really love it, it is something that I'm willing to spend my own money on. And while I am very generously sent lots of products for work, I am not under any obligation to be recommending any of these to you. All of that to say, these are products that I have tried for many weeks, many months, and that I personally use and love in my routines. And just to go over the dates and the discounts for the sale. So if you're listening to this episode the day that it came out, the sale starts tomorrow, October 31st. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. And that is going to be first access for Sephora Rouge members and also for Sephora Collection products. Sephora Collection is 30% off all throughout the sale. So starting tomorrow on Friday, October 31st, and running through the end of the sale, which is November 10th. And Rouge gets first access to sale products. So Sephora Rouge members get 20% off and they get to shop starting day one. And then VIB and insiders get to start shopping on November 4th. VIB members get 15% off and insiders get 10% off. And the Sephora sale ends on November 10th. So make sure that you get your purchases made before then. Let's start out in the skincare category. And I've gone ahead and given fun little like titles and superlatives to each product. So if you're in need of a vitamin C serum that's actually worth the money, I recommend the Sunday Riley 15% vitamin C brightening serum. And I'll just say it right out the gate. This one's not cheap, okay? But when it comes to an ingredient like vitamin C, that especially at that potency at 15%, that's where I am willing to spend a little bit more money, especially when it comes to a premium ingredient. And this particular serum also contains AHA and retinol. So in some ways, it really is like a triple whammy product. I also got to attend a skincare masterclass with Sunday Riley last year, and she is just like the most glamorous, cool, sophisticated human being. And she is really interested in like ingredient research, product research. I feel like she's always super thorough about stuff. And I always really appreciate hearing her perspective on how she develops products and how often she uses them in her routine too. And this serum in particular, also, vitamin C, I feel like we're split down the middle here. Let me know if you like scented vitamin C or if you don't, because I feel like the default for vitamin C products is usually just a really strong citrusy scent. This one has a very natural and almost muted citrusy scent. So it's not overpowering, but it does still feel like a little burst of okay, I need to wake up here. Like, good morning. I smell the orange juice in the kitchen, the fresh squeezed, all of that. So I don't know. It's really not that artificial citrusy scent. If you are sensitive to fragrances, maybe this is not the one for you, but I personally love using this in my morning skincare routine. And this one is $85. So the Sephora sale is actually a great time to be able to get a little discount there. Next in the skincare category is a product I'm calling a mini facial in a travel friendly pouch that only takes 5 minutes. And if you know, you know, I'm of course talking about the Dr. Dennis Gross Alpha Beta Universal Peel Pads. And I will give full credit to Lindsay Silberman for being the first person to put me on to these. If you guys don't follow Lindsay, I'm sure if you like my content, you will love hers. She is actually also a editor turned content creator. I will make sure to link her handle in the show notes. And I think now I might be its second biggest fan after her. These peel pads, how do I even put this? They just always save the day anytime my skin needs a reset. Like, I have Taylor's wedding this week. If my skin were freaking out, which actually thankfully it's not, and I used a bunch of products today on my face that I'm going to be talking about. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to point out anything I actually used so you can see hopefully a little bit of what it looks like. But this would be a week where I would want to make sure I am going through the extra steps to have my skin looking its best, because I'm going to be in photos with my best friend from her wedding day. And we're going to be looking at these when we're like in our 90s sitting on rocking chairs on our front porches. So, anyway, if you notice a skin freak out, I do find that sometimes a gentle exfoliator can really help. Obviously, you don't want to over exfoliate or get into any, broken skin or irritated acne spots. But in general, this is one where if I even feel not breakups, breakouts coming on, I do find it's really helpful to use this. And the whole pack of them comes out to $92, but if you think about it in terms of cost per treatment, it comes out to less than $3 per treatment. And I really only use these as needed. So I kind of buy them once and I'm set for a while. And then depending on your skin types and your skin tone, they also make an ultra gentle version and then an extra strength version. I actually find that the ones right in the middle, the original orange ones, work best for me, but if you find that you're reaching for them more often, maybe you want to do the gentle ones so that you're not over exfoliating. And if you feel like you only need them every once in a while, but you really want them to do something, you might be more on the extra strength side. Really just depends on your personal preferences, but these always have a ton of 5-star reviews backing them up as well. And the fact that another one of my favorite creators who I follow and trust their recommendations is the one who put me onto it just is one of those products that I always keep coming back to. Okay, now that we're heading into fall winter here, how about a giant tub of cream moisturizer that works for all skin types? And my recommendation there is the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. Now, I've got to say, one of my biggest skincare pet peeves, if you want to call it, is when a product that is literally the size of my pinky finger is priced at like $150. So if that annoys you too, if you're looking for products that don't break the bank that are also a great value, you are going to be obsessed with this. And this is really one of what I think is the best values in skincare. I use this moisturizer all through the winter months, and I almost never get through the whole jar, even before the season ends, because the good news is a little bit goes a really, really long way. This product is $38, but you get a 6-ounce jar. Like, that's just a little smaller than the size of my mug if you're watching on YouTube. And I just feel like that is a really fair price for a product that I absolutely love and that, again, is approved for all skin types. My skin is normal to dry, so I definitely find myself reaching for moisturizer quite a bit during this time of year. And again, a little really does go a long way, which I love. And it's also safe for sensitive skin and fragrance free. Next on my list is a self care moment you can refrigerate, also known as the Peter Thomas Roth Cucumber Detox Hydra Gel Eye Patches. I am obsessed with these, and actually, Peter Thomas Roth makes a ton of different versions of these products. But if you're going for immediate soothing and reducing puffiness or under eye circles, I do feel like the cucumber ones are kind of my top recommendation out of all of the different variations. If you're looking for just 15 minutes where you want to do a little something for yourself and you don't necessarily have time to just like sit and breathe deeply or meditate, I can relate to that. And that is why I love these eye patches. I literally do keep them in the refrigerator so they are nice and cooling when I apply them. And it's just like a self care moment that, again, you can reach for whenever you have time. So, this product is $55. You get 30 treatments in the jar, which comes out to less than $2 per set of eye patches. And I like this for two reasons. Number one, the jar is much more eco friendly than the individually packaged eye patches. I personally really only have those for when I travel and I'm going somewhere overnight. And also, the value is just so much better. Like for the spring Sephora sale, I was considering getting the Summer Fridays jet lag eye patches because I really wanted to try them, but I believe it was $24 and it came with a pack of 6 treatments, but that comes out to $4 each for just 6 treatments versus this. You get 30 treatments and it comes out to less than $2 each. Like the math makes sense. You want to buy the jar. I don't know. To me, this just feels like the 2025 version of actually putting cucumber slices over your eyes with less mess and better results. So, shout out to Peter Thomas Roth. They actually have a ton of skincare products that I really like and have tried over the years. I just haven't necessarily found myself repurchasing them a ton because I have so many other products personally to test, but I would if that were not the case. Okay, last product in the skincare category, the solution to dry cracked lips this winter. And it's the solution to dry cracked lips all year round, and that is the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. And I personally recommend the original berry flavor. I don't know if that's boring of me or not, but and as someone who has had the privilege of trying many of the different Laneige flavors over the years, I just always come back to the original berry. I don't know. There's just something about it where it feels like the perfect thing and the only thing I want to put on my lips at the end of the night or if they're feeling really cracked and dry. Now, it says lip sleeping mask, so I actually do keep this product at my nightstand and I do put it on every single night before bed. Like, that is one thing that I just do without fail, no matter how awful my day was, no matter how late I go to bed, no matter what else was going on or where in the world I am. Like, literally, even if I'm on an airplane going somewhere, I bring this with me. It is always something that I put on right before bed. And I guess you could say that I am very dependent on it at this point, and I have been for several years. I mean, I've repurchased this product so many times at this point, and for me personally, it does last for quite a while. So the little jar is $25, but it does take me such a long time to go through it. So Sephora sale is a pretty good time for me to stock up so that there's always a backup one on hand, which is how I like to live my life, always prepared. It really lasts for a long time. I put it on every single day. And like I said, original berry, hard to go wrong. If you do want to dip into some of the seasonal flavors, I'm pretty sure I saw on Sephora that they do have something pumpkin out right now and that they also have a hot cocoa one, which I assume is their holiday offering. I would definitely, try and experiment if you want to. The one that I really didn't love though was the peppermint one, just because that mintiness, like on cracked dry lips, was not a good combination for me. So I would maybe steer clear of that one if they have brought that back for 2025. Let's get into the makeup category. And I feel like one of the biggest struggles that I see, people on social media talking about or that I hear when I'm talking to my friends is that when they apply products that are base products like a foundation or a bronzer, that sometimes it looks like they're not really sitting right on the skin or settling into the skin. And I think that one big thing I've learned from over the years, especially after interviewing a bunch of makeup artists, talking to dermatologists, like one thing that always comes back to the forefront here is skin prep and ensuring that you have the right products as you do your skincare routine and then as you start makeup to make sure that it does lay nicely on your skin and that it's not settling into fine lines or like getting cakey or doing any of those weird things. One product that is what I call the priming moisturizer that makes base products look flawless is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base Moisturizer and Primer. And this to me is the perfect either last step in your skincare routine or first step when you go to apply your makeup, especially if you have dry skin. If you find that you have more oily skin, This product might be a little heavy for you, but at the same time, a little bit of it does go a long way, which is why I actually wanted to recommend the mini size to start out with. So the mini size is $25. I believe the full size is $69. But the reason I'm recommending the mini is because a little really does go a long way. And I feel like, again, this is the time where you can save a little bit of money to test whether or not something's worth it to you. You don't want to be wasteful and end up with a whole jar of something that you haven't really gotten to try and use. So, for that reason, I really do recommend also using this as a chance to get some mini versions of products that you like too. I first started out with the mini size and it took me a really long time to make my way through it. And afterwards, I did get the larger size. I really do just love how my makeup looks on top of this priming moisturizer. And if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully my makeup looks absolutely flawless. I feel like it looks pretty good on the camera. And obviously, I got to see it in person as I was applying it. And it's just one of those products that I keep coming back to. And I know that is also recommended by makeup artists. And then for foundation, if you're looking for that perfect medium coverage foundation that actually comes in your shade, I recommend the Glossier Stretch Fluid Foundation. So again, I am wearing it today. This foundation actually comes in 32 shades, which is awesome. And I feel like they really do have their bases covered within the shade range. And I don't really know what I expected from Glossier's foundation because when I first found Glossier in 2015 or 16, like I was talking about earlier, they really launched with those 4 hero products and their whole motto was skincare first, makeup second. They had launched a skin tint, they had launched stretch concealer, like even their makeup was so minimal. I was curious what a full coverage or medium coverage foundation from them would be like. And I honestly just love it. I actually got shade matched at the Glossier store in Soho, but you could also get shade matched at Sephora. I wear the shade Light 2, if anyone thinks they're the same skin tone as me and wants to be foundation buddies. I just think it's interesting how this brand that came from its no makeup roots is embracing more color cosmetics and more full coverage products. I feel like this foundation is the Goldilocks of foundations for me. It is definitely buildable, but it's not too heavy on the skin. Today I used a very little amount of it and just diffused it all over my face with my beauty sponge as I typically apply foundation. And again, with 32 shades to choose from, I feel confident recommending this no matter what your skin tone is so that you can find something that works for you. Moving on to another one of my true loves, which is a concealer that is literally incapable of being cakey, and that is the Tower 28 Swipe All Over Hydrating Serum Concealer. Tower 28 Beauty has long been on my radar. I remember first discovering their Beach Please cream blushes a few years ago and thinking that was a totally fascinating and great cream product formula. And now that I've discovered serum concealer, I think that may have taken the cake as my top favorite product from them. It's just one that I repurchase without question, that I reach for when I know I need something reliable, and something that I feel like, again, has a nice shade range. So there's a good amount to choose from there. I believe I wear, it's called Downtown LA, the shade, and it's the abbreviation DTLA. I believe that's shade 4, like on the spectrum of all of them. And again, I love that this is a female founded brand. It's a Los Angeles based brand. Tower 28 was also doing a lot of work to put together PR packages for people who lost things in the Palisades fires earlier this year. And I've gotten to meet the brand's founder, Amy Liu, at events before. She is really sweet and just very knowledgeable and very like interested in experimenting and continuing to iterate and try to create and find the best formulas possible. And I feel like the price points are very reasonable. Like this concealer is $22. That's not something that's a gut punch to me every time I run out of. And especially during the Sephora sale where I can save a little, you can bet I will be restocking. Next up is the best eyeshadow primer. And this is coming from someone who has tested 15 of them. And that's actually a true story. So I wrote a story for Birdie, I think last year, where I tested 15 of what were considered to be the best eyeshadow primers on the market. I can link the story that I did for Birdie in the show notes if you're interested in reading it. And I think about 6 of them ended up in the piece, but the one that I crowned best overall is the one that I am actually using right now today, and that is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip eyeshadow and concealer primer. What can I say? First of all, this is a multi use product, so you can use it to prime your lids for eyeshadow, but you can also use it to prime your under eyes before you apply concealer. So if you're someone who struggles with cakiness under your eyes, again, it goes back to skin prep. This is what I was talking about with the Bobbi Brown face base. Being able to get a little bit of primer in there, make sure that that skin is as smooth, that all the crevices and pores and all of that are filled in so that you're giving yourself the best base to then layer concealer on top of it. It can be a game changer, truly. And I also love that this formula is really, really light. It's easy to blend in. I typically use the doe foot applicator to apply and then use the tip of my ring fingers to blend it out. I use the ring fingers when I apply any eyeshadow, eye primer, or eye cream because they are the lightest touch. That is the softest skin around your eye that you're dealing with. So you want to make sure that you're using your ring fingers because that is your lowest pressure point of all of your fingers. Another little tidbit I've learned over the years from estheticians and makeup artists. I just love that it's multifunctional, it's totally non greasy, and it actually does help my eyeshadow last all day. So you can feel good about purchasing that. Okay, I am fully converted. This is actually a purchase that I first made during the Sephora sale in the spring, and I'm now calling it the ultimate lip liner pencil. I'm on board. I wasn't even that skeptical in the beginning. It was just I already had others in my collection. I didn't feel a need to buy it right away, but the cries became so loud I could not ignore them. So for the spring Sephora sale, I did pick up the Makeup Forever Artist Wear Lip Liner in Wherever Walnut. That seems to be the shade that just keeps popping up. Like in TikToks, on Google, when you search for this product, that shade seems to be the hero. And I feel like it's easy to see why. It is a really beautiful nude natural color. I'm wearing it today again if you're watching on YouTube. And I just absolutely love it. I think that if your skin is like light to medium as far as shade, it would show up nicely. If your skin is a bit more of a darker tone, I know that they have other shades as well to check out. And I just love the formula of this. I feel like it applies and it's really creamy, but it's not smudgy. And I personally feel like because this is one that now I just inherently like use all the time and trust, that kind of makes it a no-brainer for me to restock during the sale. Although I am thinking about venturing outside of Wherever Walnut. I was also thinking about Endless Cacao, but then I also saw, I'm jumping ahead just a tiny bit in this section of the podcast episode, because technically this is a gift set, but I was thinking about maybe getting it for myself. Sephora is actually selling a new limited edition gift set of the Makeup Forever Artist Color Lip Pencils, but there's 5 minis of their best-selling shades. So Wherever Walnut is in here, that's described as a warm rose nude. They also have Endless Cacao in here. That one's described as a cool taupe brown. And then the other 3 shades are Anywhere Caffeine, Boundless Berry, and Limitless Brown. So again, if you're not sure, to be able to get 5 for 40, I know they're the mini size, but honestly, how quickly do you go through a lip liner anyway? I don't know. I kind of feel like I might wanting to be purchasing this one too. Not as a gift just for me, to be clear. So, yeah, that's definitely on my mind. And then the last product in the makeup section is the mascara that does it all, is what I'm going to call it. And that is the Ilia Beauty Limitless Lash Lengthening Mascara. That was almost a disastrous tongue twister, but I relied on my powers of articulation from my former theater days to get through that one. Oh my God, this is just my current perfect mascara. I have no complaints about it. I love the formulation. I love the brush. The brush is interesting because it kind of has like a little bit of a multifaceted brush going on where it curves in the middle on one side, but then there is almost a side that's like a flat line that is really helpful for separating lashes. I feel like it coats beautifully. I feel like it adds volume. I feel like it lengthens. I feel like it does all of the things that you want a mascara to do. You know, when you just find a great product in one category and you could just like feel yourself letting out an exhale to say, I found what I was looking for. I don't need to wander through the mascara jungles anymore. Like what I needed was right in front of me this entire time. I don't know. That was a little bit how I felt when I tried the Ilia mascara. And I actually have not tried anything else from Ilia. If you guys have product recommendations from this brand that you love, I'm so obsessed with the mascara. I'm like ready and willing to try anything that they have to offer. And I'm almost through my first tube, so this is almost surely a restock for me during the sale this time around. Let's get into the hair category. So if you are looking for a no fuss, quick and easy hair mask that only takes 60 seconds in the shower, may I present the Amika Flash Instant Shine Mask. One thing about me is I love a hair mask. Another thing about me, though, is I'm not trying to apply a hair mask that requires me to stand in the shower for like 10 or more minutes. What do you even do during that time aside from sing the 10-minute version of All Too Well all as loudly as you possibly can so that your neighbors can hear you? Not entirely sure about that. And I always forget to do a hair mask until the end of the shower anyway. Like for some reason, my brain does not deviate from face wash, body wash, shampoo, conditioner. It has to happen in that order. It usually does. And so by the time I'm done with the conditioner, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here now. I don't want to have an extra long step. So the fact that this hair mask you apply and wash out in 60 seconds, and I actually can visibly see the shine when I dry my hair. And that's all I want in a product. I want something that's cost effective and that doesn't cost a lot of time. And that's what I love about this. So the bottle is $30. I would say that I do the shine treatment like 2 times a week maximum, and you really don't need a lot. So this is definitely something where because of the frequency, you're not going to be like running through this product that quickly. Moving on to a hairspray that will make your hair shiny AF. Oh my God. I cannot stop talking about the Color Wow Extra Mystical Shine Spray. If you've got frizz, if you have dull strands, one little spritz of this, and I swear you're walking out looking like a Disney princess. It's actually so good. It really does deliver on that, like, you just left the salon kind of quality of hair. And I love that little shimmer or shine that you can add, especially after you do like a blowout or you've styled your hair with heat tools, to really just add like the finishing coat to something. This is another one where I feel like you don't need a ton. I go through this product very slowly. It is $29. So again, you'll save a little bit with the sale. And I think most important to note, it really does add shine and it does not leave your hair looking greasy. That is my complaint about some of the shine sprays that I've tried over the years. I used to have a drugstore one that I loved, but one day I noticed that it was making my hair a little greasy, and then I kind of hopped off of that one for a while. And moving on to my final hair product rec. See, I told you I wanted to keep this just to a few that I really love. That is a hairspray that holds without the crunch. A rare find, truly a unicorn. And why is that the case? Why are there so many hairsprays out there that make your hair crunchy? We don't know, but one thing that we do know is the Davines, this is a medium hairspray, is not one of those products. I love a hairspray that keeps your style in place without completely compromising the texture of your hair, because we've all been there for a formal event. You do an updo or you do some kind of fancy style, and then you're like, this cannot budge. You spray your hairspray, and then you touch your head, and it's like you're wearing a helmet. This is not that. Davines products are used in salons all across the country. I've been using Davines products on and off since, I want to say, 2018 or 2019. It's just easy to see why they're hairstylist approved and why there's something that I personally, too, just keep coming back to. I've used this particular hairspray for about a year now and truly love it. Davines also has a nice shine spray, too. But this medium hairspray is my go-to for when I do a blowout, when I do my curls. I just love how it actually helps me keep the style and keeps my hair nice and soft. Now, before I share what is in my cart for the sale, I also wanted to throw in a couple of gift ideas because it's not too early. You know, think about how happy you're going to be if you get some gift shopping done now. Then you're not going to be that person in mid-December who's like, oh no, what should I get for my niece? What should I get for this person? It's just so nice to have like even a couple of gifts already on hand. And I was actually pretty impressed with a lot of the gift guides and gift offerings. I probably will do a blog post, as I do most years, with my favorite beauty gift sets, but just to shout out a couple right here. Number one, Glossier is doing a perfume discovery set for $15. I love the idea of gifting a perfume discovery set to someone because fragrance is so personal. It's so specific. It's really, really hard to get someone a fragrance that they know they're going to love. And for $15 to be able to try all four of the Glossier U fragrances and figure out which one is your favorite, I think that is such an awesome gift idea. If you want to know my personal favorite, though, it is Rev, which is the dark purple bottle. That one is definitely my favorite. Next on the list, Touchland is doing a limited edition hand sanitizer gift set of their top 5 scents. Now, I don't know about you. Hand sanitizer is one of those things that Touchland put their branding on and it suddenly became a cool thing. However, their hand sanitizers are still $10. So in an ideal world, it is the thing that you might want to gift to someone else. To be able to give someone a $10 hand sanitizer is not that expensive of a gift for you to give, but it feels so much better on the receiving end knowing that you're not the one who spent $10 on hand sanitizer, if that makes any sense. And with this gift set, it's the top 5 scents and it retails for $45. So instead of spending $10 each on 5 for $50, you get to save $5 if you buy the gift set. Not that big of a savings, but again, to get gifted fancy hand sanitizer, I feel like the concept is what I like about this one. Another gift set that caught my eye was the Glow Recipe Mini Glass Balm gift set. So it's $25 and you get 4 shades. I feel like these are the perfect things to just toss in your purse. I feel like anyone could always use 1 or 2 more of these. I also really liked all 4 shades that were in this package, and I feel like these could be split up as stocking stuffers or obviously given all together. Another brand I haven't tried yet, but that has been on my radar for a while is Say Beauty, and they have a mini Dew Blush Trio gift set. I feel like these kind of liquidy blushes, I'm thinking of the Rare Beauty one, that one is so pigmented and it lasts forever. So I kind of feel like this would be a similar situation where you get 3 of them, it retails for $30. So it's essentially 10 each for the 3 mini blushes. Absolutely loved the packaging on this one. And another one that I wanted to mention is actually part of Sephora collection. So this you could shop starting on Friday. And they have just a little mini bath bomb gift set for anyone who takes baths in your lives, who you know loves a good bath bomb. These were just so cute. It's cute little seasonal bath bombs, and I feel like this is a great stocking stuffer. And to wrap out this episode, here is what's in my cart that is not a restock, but things that I have just been curious about, that I've seen online, that I've been influenced to want to try. I will say I did have the Gisou. I'm probably saying that wrong. The brand is spelled Gisou lip oil on here at first, but then I saw that it's a honey lip oil. I'm actually allergic to honey, so I feel like I will avoid a problem if I just preemptively don't actually buy that one. But I've heard really good things about that brand. So that unfortunately did not make it into the basket. The things that are in the basket right now are the Tower 28 Eyeshadow Go-Go Cooling Shimmer Sticks. Ever since the brand launched these this year, it's just one of those things that I keep coming back to because I absolutely love an eyeshadow stick. One thing about me, the eyeshadow that I'm wearing today is actually from a shimmer stick, but it is the CoverGirl one, so technically not part of the Sephora sale, but I do love it. And all of the shades of the Tower 28 ones just look so pretty. And again, I really feel like Tower 28 nails it with their formulas, and these just look really creamy and beautiful. I'm totally tempted to get some of these. These retail for $20 each. Another product is the Rhode Glazing Milk. Welcome to Sephora, Rhode. It's kind of been a long time coming, and it's been a big year for Rhode. They got acquired by Elf Beauty for $1 billion earlier this year, and then they launched in Sephora in September. I don't know. Is this my time to try the Rhode Glazing Milk? I know that some people have also mentioned a dupe for this product. I can't remember off the top of my head what exactly that is. But I don't know. Do I try? I mean, listen, Hailey Bieber's doing something right, okay? That girl is glowy and gorgeous. And I'm definitely tempted. As far as skin prep goes, I feel like this could be an interesting, like one of my last steps in my skincare routine before applying makeup. I've heard nothing but rave reviews. If I need to be talked down from the Rhode Glazing Milk train, please feel free to slide into my DMs and let me know. And last but not least, I am still curious about the House Labs Foundation. And listen, my good friend Lady Gaga, Stephanie Germata, she knows what she's doing. Okay. She knows what she's doing. I hear people rave about the House Labs Foundation, seems to come in a lot of shade, seems to be that good kind of medium buildable coverage that I typically like in a foundation for the days that I choose to wear it. I don't know. I'm usually pretty selective. I usually stick to like Glossier Milk Makeup and my It Cosmetics CC creams, like every variation of it. But I think I might be persuaded to try because also it's $49. So if I can save a little here, I'm going to take the discount, as we all should. One of the things that I really wanted to do when I launched this podcast was make sure that each and every episode had a corresponding blog post so that if there's anything I mentioned in that episode, as far as links or articles or products, that you could all find it easily and in one place. So definitely check out the link in the show notes for all of this. Let me know what you guys are eyeing from the Sephora sale this year, and happy shopping.